Hello, welcome back to the breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I have a ton of huge news to share with all of you today. So today's date is March 24th, 2025, and it's Monday. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're all ready for another huge week of news. We've got a lot of topics to cover in today's video. We'll start off with this story here on your screen. Ukrainian Himars wipes out 4 Russian helicopters in the Belgorod region. So this is video footage coming out from Ukraine's military as 4 Russian helicopters were targeted and struck in the Belgorod region in the rear lines. So Ukraine's Special Operations Forces destroyed 2 Russian Ka-52 and 2 Mi-8 helicopters by missile strikes in the Russian rear in Belgorod Oblast, the military branch reported on March 24th. Okay, this is video footage showing that these 4 helicopters that were stationed just in the rear lines of the Belgorod region. This is exactly where Ukraine has opened up a new front right now. I've got huge updates on that as well. They've taken over a new village of Demidovka in the Belgorod region, very close to the border of the Kursk region as well, also Sumy region of Ukraine. So I'll give you guys some updates there. We even have reports that some bridges have already been destroyed at some of the settlements over there also. So Ukraine's moving very quick in the Belgorod region. And we also even have reports of major fires in Moscow today, 2 major fires over there, and also a Russian Su-25 fighter bomber that reportedly crashed in Primorsky Krai. This is far east in Russian territory, close to North Korea. Apparently suffered some sort of engine failure and crashed over there. Looks like the pilot was able to eject. So information on that today. Also, that a huge strike in Sumy today inside of Ukraine. We had a Russian missile attack, and we have lots of people being injured and killed over there. So very unfortunate attack to have to report there. But we'll start off talking about this strike over here in the Belgorod region with Ukrainian Himars taking out these helicopters. So Ka-52s are the Russian Alligator helicopter. Those are attack aircraft. And also we have those 2 Mi-8 helicopters, which are more like transport choppers, okay? So we'll jump into the news, guys. Lots of information to go into today. Let's hop on over here to X with Tendar. Ukrainian Himars using M30A1 missiles destroyed 4 Russian choppers parked somewhere in the rear in the Belgorod region of Russia. 2 Ka-52 and 2 Mi-8 were showered by tungsten rain. Okay, the source was on Telegram from UKR_SOF. Okay, so we got a couple photos we can show you guys also. Unfortunately, the video, I can't play it here on X because it's got music. But we've got a couple screenshots here of the video that you were just watching. You can see that direct strike on a helicopter, and I think there's 2 more stationed right here. Might have had some there that were hit also. Here's one more snapshot from the video also, okay? So here's another helicopter reportedly being destroyed, and in total, 4 Russian helicopters. So a pretty accurate and a huge hit here, okay? 4 Russian helicopters being destroyed in the Belgorod region is a pretty massive hit, in my opinion. And apparently, some information on the backstory here is this was like a makeshift landing zone for these helicopters, and they were using them for attacks on Ukrainian troops, like in the Sumy region. So, yeah, Ukraine was somehow able to locate these helicopters, striking them with HIMARS missiles and destroying them. Okay, so huge update to start the video off today. Now we'll move on to the Belgorod region once again, but we're going to talk about Ukraine's offensive on the ground. This is from NOAA Reports. Russian military blogger Romanov confirms that Ukraine controls Demidovka in the Belgorod region. The settlement is under Ukrainian control. Russian forces withdrew from the area, allowing the enemy to occupy it. Additionally, the moment of road demining by the enemy and the removal of Dragon's Teeth was missed. Russian forces are now storming the settlement. Okay, so yeah, so reportedly Ukraine controls at least one village over here in the Belgorod region, the village of Demidovka, and I've got a map I can show you guys. This was the report coming out on Telegram. Now from Visioner, big news, Ukrainian forces after capturing the village of Demidovka in Belgorod Oblast have launched an offensive on the village of Grafovka, where strikes on Russian logistics lines are already underway to prevent additional Russian reserves from entering the village. Ukrainian artillery aviation effectively struck a bridge connecting to the village, cutting off supplies to the Russian garrison. stationed there, likely in the coming hours or days, will witness a general offensive by Ukrainian forces towards Grafovka. Okay, so let's take a look at this map. I'll show you guys this video in another post here in just a minute, showing one of the bridges destroyed. They actually destroyed two bridges over here. So here's the border of Ukraine, this white line here, and this kind of dotted line is the border between Belgorod region right here, and then just over this dotted line would be the Kursk region. So that's where Ukraine was, for the most part, operating at before. Last I heard, as of today, on March 24th, it looks like Ukraine is still in the Kursk region. They're not completely pulled out yet, but now they're launching this new offensive. So here's Demidovka, where they're controlling right now. It looks like they're going to try to launch a pincer attack here, or pinch off Grafovka and attack this village next. And we heard last week that Ukraine was attacking this village already. I think there was like a school or something over here that got directly hit from some drones or something like that. So it looks like Ukraine will go after this village next, is what we're hearing. Okay, we've got some more posts talking about this also. Now from Max24, the video shows destroyed bridge in the village of Grafovka and a damaged gas pipeline in Belgorod region. Okay, and this is that same town we were just talking about that Ukraine's going to start pushing over to try to take over next. It is also reported that a bridge over the Gryazna, if I'm saying that right, river in the village of Nadezinka. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Also, 6 kilometers from Grafovka has been destroyed. Okay, so we got a bridge over here near Grafovka that has been hit. We've got sound here also, and you're going to see major damage to this bridge. Looks like also a gas pipeline being hit. Take a look at this. All right, so it looks like we got a major attack on this bridge, most likely from a Himars missile striking it. This is exactly what we saw up in the Kursk region when Ukraine was starting to push over there to one of the districts. I forget the name of it. We talked about it a lot. There was like several settlements just to the west of where Ukraine was currently controlling in the Kursk region months back, and they struck some bridges over there. Looks like they're doing the same thing over here. Probably a Russian soldier coming over here and recording that. Here's another one from Max24. AFU also destroyed a bridge in Nadezhevka, Belgorod region. We are destroying Russian logistics, already the second bridge. Okay, so this is to the east of Grafovka and Demidovka, where Ukraine is currently operating at. And it looks like they knocked out another bridge over here as well, most likely with HIMARS. Okay, so it's the same tactics we saw from Ukraine before, destroying these bridges as they were trying to make gains in the Kursk region. Now we're seeing the same thing over in the Belgorod region. So it looks like Ukraine is going to be committing to some sort of major offensive over here in the Belgorod region very soon. And right now they're just trying to knock out the logistics from the Russian side before they move in. Also from Knoll reports, according to Russian sources, the AFU have entered Popovka, Belgorod region. The enemy entered Popovka in a group of up to 10 people. We are now working to eliminate them. They use cassettes and FPV a lot. Now the enemy has also started using fiber optics. Okay, so they're talking a lot about these drones. Here's a report on Telegram, looks like here. Or it might be on X, actually. And yeah, so reportedly, when I tried to look up this information on Popovka, I was trying to locate where it's at. To me, the only village I was able to find by the name of Popovka was much further east than where Ukraine is currently operating, and it's actually pretty far into Belgorod region, so I'm not sure how Ukraine was able to move into this town if I was looking at the right one, but I believe it's much further east, even past the city of Belgorod, and more like central Belgorod, it seems like. And right now, as far as we know, Ukrainian forces are more on the western side of Belgorod, so I'm going to wait for more information on that and see if we can get confirmation, because this was literally just coming out in the last couple hours. Not a whole lot of information on this yet, but it looks like a small team of Ukrainian, probably special forces, made their way into another city in Belgorod, the city of Popovka, or village of Popovka. All right, now we'll move on to these fires that we're hearing about inside of Moscow, okay? Now from Bliskovka, The elite residential complex Rosa Rosa is on fire in the center of Moscow, Russian mass media reported. The roof of a six-story building, which is still under construction, is on fire. Eyewitnesses record thick smoke and explosions. The causes of the fire have not yet been established. So we got a 24-second clip of a building here that's under construction and somehow caught on fire. Makes you wonder if somebody deliberately burned it to the ground or what. But we've been seeing a lot of fires in Moscow lately. Take a look at this one. All right, so yet again, another weekly video of a massive fire inside of Moscow. And again, we don't have all the details on what caused this, but this building reportedly burning to the ground. Okay, so we've got reports of another fire also, this time in Vladivostok. From Max 24, at least 30 cars burned in a parking lot in Vladivostok. There are no official reasons for what happened yet. Okay, so yet another fire over here in Russia. Now, Vladivostok is much further east, closer to like North Korea in that area also. Just like in the Primorsky Krai where that Su-25 reportedly had crashed. Let's take a look at this video real quick. Bunch of cars on fire.
Капец, у нас уже тут вся стоянка горит. О, ёб твою мать, уже в окно нам стреляет. Ой-ой-ой. Не прошло и получаса, приехала пожарная. Начинает.
We'll go ahead and pause it there, guys. It looks like a large parking lot, maybe near like a residential complex where people are parking their cars. Huge fire over here. How did all these cars catch on fire? This looks like, to me, like it was probably intentionally done. Maybe somebody came over here and dumped a bunch of gasoline and caught all these cars on fire. Who really knows? But it kind of reminds me of the attacks on Tesla right now. We've been seeing a lot of Tesla dealerships being attacked, cars being set on fire, just Tesla cars being keyed. Makes you wonder what could have caused this, but it kind of reminds me of what's going on with Tesla right now. So we'll move on to another update. Max 24 Russian Su-25 aircraft crashed in Primorsky Krai. So here's a photo of an Su-25 fighter bomber that's reportedly crashed, and we've got some information here from Max 24 from fighter bomber on Telegram. Su-25 crash, preliminary cause engine failure. The pilot ejected. He is alive and well. Okay, so it looks like the pilot was able to eject and was not killed due to this reported crash from this Su-25. Looks like it was due to engine failure, okay? This was out in the Primorsky Krai region, again, close to North Korea, like far east Russia. Now from Savchenko, Volodymyr, Sumy, already 74 injured, including 14 children as of now. Gas supply is absent in 8 houses. Hot water and heating in 18. Cold water in 6. The prosecutor's office showed a photo of the aftermath of the Russian strike of a residential building in Sumy. Okay, so we had a massive missile attack in Sumy today, just earlier this morning. You can see this huge cloud after this missile hit, probably an Iskander ballistic missile striking over here. And we can see a lot of people being injured, 74 injuries just from this one strike. There was reports of like a school that was damaged, residential homes, cars being destroyed. It was an absolute barbaric and heavy attack over here in Sumy. Here's a video also coming out from Max 24, and he says, Sumy with a broken heart emote there. So take a look at this, guys. Horrible attack today, just 7 seconds long. All right, so I mean, this video definitely does justice to show how horrible these attacks are inside of Ukraine. It's from a Russian missile striking right by these residential buildings, and the reports were showing that it was directly in the center of Sumy where this attack took place. So, what was Russia going after here in Sumy? Who really knows? Was there Ukrainian troops located over here? It's very close to the Kursk region. Maybe there was. I'm sure there are Ukrainian troops that travel through this city. But yeah, horrible attack over here in Sumy. Once again, guys, almost every week, at least one major strike. Here's another one from Max 24. Russia attacked a city center of Sumy. Several high-rise buildings and a school were damaged. The children were in a protective structure. They are being evacuated now. Everyone is alive and well. Okay, so take a look at this. We're going to see damage to this residential building and even caught on fire over here also from this attack. All right, guys. So another sad story coming out from Ukraine and Sumy, showing this major missile attack and destroying a lot of these buildings over here, especially residential buildings. And I think just last night too, I wasn't here, but the night before, we actually had Kiev under a heavy attack by drones again. I even saw a video. It was very sad to see, but there was a man that was unfortunately burning in his apartment. He wasn't even able to make it out of that apartment. I guess he was stuck in there and he was calling people for help in Ukrainian. Nobody was even able to help him, and I'm pretty sure he perished inside of his apartment due to a Russian drone attack. So very sad news, guys. Now for military news UA, Trump increasingly irritated by an inability to quickly end Russia's war against Ukraine, according to the Telegraph. The article notes that while the White House wants to achieve peace by April 20th, Kremlin is in no hurry and is only imitating a desire for a ceasefire. Trump is allegedly increasingly angry about the continued rocket attacks and drone attacks, which are taking place despite promises from both sides for a mini truce, sources close to the U.S. president claim. Okay, so yeah, allegedly Trump is not very happy with the way the war is going right now. It does seem like he's really trying to end the war, but at the same time, with Russia's side, they're not completely coming out yet, and looking like they're really ready to end this war, and just both sides are really hammering each other very hard. And we're probably seeing some of the heaviest attacks, whether it be in Russia or Ukraine in general, than we've probably seen throughout majority of this war, at least throughout the last year, from what I've been reporting. So attacks are definitely picking up right now, and I'm sure Russia's going to try to do everything they can to take advantage of the little time that they do have before this war does come to an end. But we'll see how things go. We know today Russia and the U.S. are talking in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, and just yesterday the U.S. Delegation just spoke with the Ukrainian delegation to talk about this ceasefire some more. So I've got a few updates on that I can show you guys. So from next, the nuclear arms era has begun. U.S. allies in Europe and Asia are planning to build their own nuclear shields due to Trump's stance on Russia. Trump's foreign policy could increase the number of nuclear armed states to 25. The Financial Times reports among the countries now considering nuclear options are Germany, Poland, South Korea, and Japan. Germany is exploring the idea of sharing nuclear weapons with France and the UK. Poland wants to host U.S. nuclear warheads on its territory and is facing hesitation from Washington. Japan and South Korea see nuclear weapons as a deterrent against China and North Korea. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, this is from the Financial Times. Trump stirs fears of a new nuclear arms race. I'm pretty sure that's going to push a lot of countries in that direction to start getting their own nuclear weapons. As Russia's got nuclear weapons, North Korea's got them, China's got them, and there's a lot of countries located very close to many of these nations, and they're probably going to be worried about, needing protection. And nuclear weapons are definitely a huge form of protection and preventing any kind of attack on their nation militarily. So, yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of countries pushing for that. We're already seeing that happening a lot inside of Europe. Now it's going to be happening in Asia. And I think this could backfire on, Trump's administration when in some ways he's been coming out saying that, the world needs to denuclearize. We don't need so many nuclear weapons. Now they're going to start spreading all over the place and we're going to have a nuclear arms race. Okay, so something to think about as we move forward in the future. Now from Tendar, the Russian gas transfer point at Sumy and near the Ukrainian border has been severely compromised. It is unlikely it will ever be operational. So this is a new video coming out that somebody's able to capture of the Sumy gas transit point. Okay, and this thing was hit late last week. And both sides, Russia was accusing Ukraine. Ukraine was saying that they didn't carry out this strike, that it was Russia doing it. We don't really know. I guess it could have really been either side. But at the end of the day, this thing was completely destroyed. And it's a major transshipment point for Russian gas before it heads on over to Eastern Europe to countries like Slovakia, Hungary. I think Hungary was very upset by this whenever this thing got hit. But it looks like it's not going to be usable anytime soon, maybe or never. Now from Ukraine Frontline, Ukrainian counteroffensive reported in at the Pokrovsk area, Donetsk region. Keep going. Okay, so we got reports of more ongoing counterattacks from Ukrainian forces over here in the city of Pokrovsk, which is right here. Russia's been trying to circle around the backside, and Ukraine's been launching lots of counterattacks for weeks now. Looks like that's still ongoing at this time. We haven't been hearing of too much reported movement or much changes in towns or settlements being taken over, but we did get some reports that several Villages over here at one point were controlled by Ukraine. This map is showing that they're not controlling them anymore. So I'm not sure if Russia maybe took them back or what's going on. But basically, what we're hearing over here is Ukraine is still continuously counterattacking in this area to hold Russia back. So, quick update on Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region. Now, from World Source News 24/7, breaking, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman urged against expecting any breakthroughs from the ongoing Russian American consultations in Riyadh. Okay, so this is interesting. Uh, the spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, she came out today pretty much saying don't expect anything big coming from these talks in Riyadh. So once again, it kind of seems like Russia's not really in the mood to rush this thing anytime soon, that they want to try to drag this out as long as they can. I mean, they've been making some major gains in Kursk. I'm sure they want to completely liberate that. Now they got to deal with Belgorod. And then at the same time, they're probably trying to push as hard as they can on the Eastern Front and the Southern Fronts to try to take over some of these territories as much as possible before this war comes to an end and try to get into the best possible position. Or is this possibly indicating that Russia's not open to ending this war at all? And they want to continue until they completely destroy Ukraine. I think that could be highly likely as well, and maybe some of you would agree with that. Now from Savchenko of Vladimir, get to the bottom of every comma. Putin allegedly orders diplomats to delay peace talks on Ukraine. The Kremlin is betting on dragging out peace talks on Ukraine in order to seize as much territory as possible before a ceasefire. Four sources familiar with the thinking of Russia's top leadership told the Moscow Times. Time is on our side now. We will try to make the most of it, a Russian diplomat told the Moscow Times. According to another source, an official close to the Kremlin, the negotiating team, which includes Senator Grigory Karasin, former head of the FSB's Fifth Service, Sergei Beseda, has been tasked with getting to the bottom of every comma in the draft of potential agreements. The Kremlin hopes that Washington will either turn a blind eye to further Russian advances on the battlefield or even pressure Kiev to withdraw its troops entirely from the occupied regions, including the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions, a current Russian official said. Although neither Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhzhia, or Kherson regions are under full control of the Russian army, Moscow intends to consolidate control over these territories at any cost, since Putin cannot afford to lose them after their status was enshrined in the constitution, an official close to the Kremlin said. Alternatively, Russia could try to seize part of another Ukrainian region, such as Dnipropetrovsk or Sumy, and then offer to exchange it for Kherson or and Zaporizhzhia, the source said. Diplomats say Moscow believes that the exact location of the dividing line is not a critical issue for Washington. Okay, so basically, what is this kind of confirming? That it looks like most likely Russia's still trying to drag this thing out as long as they possibly can. We know they want to take control of all the four regions in Ukraine that they're currently controlling, along with Crimea, which they have full control of right now. And yeah, we keep hearing that maybe they might try to launch another attack onto the Sumy region. The Russians have already been crossing over in that area. But Russia does want control of all those territories, whether they take them over militarily by continuing this war at whatever cost that might be, no matter how many troops they lose or equipment, whatever. They definitely want control of all those territories, okay? So Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, Luhansk, Donetsk, but right now they don't control them. So it could definitely be in Russia's favor to continue this war if need be. Now from Liskovka, Romania and Bulgaria are worried that the talks between Russia and the United States and Saudi Arabia could seriously change the situation in the Black Sea in favor of Russia, according to the Financial Times. Informed Romanian and Bulgarian officials told the newspaper that they are wary of any significant changes to the status quo in the Black Sea as part of any broader potential agreement between Russia and the United States, given that it could expand the operational area of the Russian Navy. Okay, so what they're talking about here is actually what we heard last week, that some of these talks ongoing in Riyadh is apparently supposed to be moving towards the next phase of a ceasefire, which is supposed to be in effect right now. We're supposed to be seeing Russia and Ukraine not attacking energy infrastructure, and for the most part, haven't really seen that a whole lot, maybe a few days ago, but over the last 24 hours so appears to be pretty quiet in terms of attacks on energy infrastructure. The next stage of the ceasefire is supposed to be the Black Sea. We're supposed to see a complete ceasefire over there, or at least a partial ceasefire in the Black Sea. And it looks like Romania and Bulgaria, also bordering on the Black Sea, they're worried about this, that it could change the Black Sea in favor of Russia. We could see them deploy their navy back over there again, and this could be bad for the region. Okay, and they're definitely concerned about safety and security. Now, from Anton Yushchenko, we're tired of washing body bags. We're really tired of washing them. Russian military experts and Z Patriots Maxim Klimov said that the losses in the Russian army are so huge that there are no longer enough bags for the dead. So this gentleman here is going to be speaking with a radio host, and he's basically stating that they don't have enough body bags and they have to wash them out and reuse them as so many Russian soldiers are dying on the front lines. And basically, many people are tired of having to wash them out and reuse them because they don't have enough body bags. Take a look at this.
То, как мы расходуем личный состав в целом ряде частей, это кошмар на самом деле. Вот Настя Белка, у нее был эпизод видео, там обращение, там сборы и так далее. Очень тяжелое видео. И она рассказывает историю просто. В числе прочих грузов они привезли небольшое количество мешков для трупов. И говорит, там была плохая очень ситуация. То есть там с той стороны люди решили, что им привезут много. И тут они приехали, немножко выдали. Ну и, короче, там нехороший разговор был с военнослужащими. И говорит, мне потом один звонит. Ну, и говорит, вы нас извините. Но, говорит, мы просто устали их отстирывать. Мешки для трупов. Мы очень устали их отстирывать. То есть собрали, отвезли в Ростов. Мешочки привезли обратно, постирали, снова собрали и так далее. То, как мы расходуем личный состав.
All right, so very horrible, right? I mean, whether it be on the Russian side or the Ukrainian side, so many people just losing their lives in this war that many people would say should have never started, right? But yeah, apparently they're short on body bags. They don't have enough. They're having to wash these things out, bring the bodies from eastern Ukraine, transfer them over to the Rostov region, where they probably dispose of the bodies or bury the people. I mean, there was even a video I saw recently where a lot of caskets were being produced, wooden caskets. So, just imagine how many people are losing their lives in this war. It's definitely a very brutal and bloody war. And it looks like Russia's having issues with just trying to get the bodies out of there. And they're short on body bags. Now for Max 24, he's got a post here that I want to show you guys. It says the war in Ukraine saw the first death of a Russian soldier born in 2007. This came out today, March 24th, 2025. It says for the first time, the death of a Russian serviceman born in 2007 in Ukraine has been confirmed. This was reported by Media Zona, Publication drew attention to the message of the Chelyabinsk branch of the movement of the first on Vkontakte, I don't know, I'm probably not saying that right, guys, or Kontakt, about the death of Alexander Petlinsky, a student at the Chelyabinsk Medical College. Okay, some of these hard to pronounce. My apologies. Yeah, so apparently we had a death of the first Russian serviceman that was really young. It looks like he was about, maybe 18 or so, 17, 18, around there. And yeah, this is reportedly one of the youngest Russian soldiers ever losing their lives, being recorded just today on March 24th, 2025. So yet again, more reports of Russian soldiers losing their lives, and now a young man barely getting his life together. Now for Max 24, Zelensky invited J.D. Vance to Ukraine, but he did not respond. The president said this in an interview with Time magazine. Okay, so yeah, Zelensky was in an interview with Time magazine just recently. I think it was over the last 24 hours. And apparently he told the reporter that he invited J.D. Vance over to Ukraine, and it looks like J.D. Vance didn't even reply to this at all or respond to Zelensky. And this was a picture coming out from the Oval Office when they were all getting into an argument. Here's J.D. Vance right here. And at one point, Zelensky told J.D. Vance, he was like, I want you to come to the front line. Come over there and see how it is. And J.D. Vance just kind of brushed it off, and he was like, at first he was like, I've been there. And then he kind of stopped saying that. And then he was like, I've seen videos. I've seen of how, you're recruiting people and dragging them into the military and using them as cannon fodder or whatever it might be. He was saying something along the lines of that. But basically, he was pretty much refusing to say that he's been to the front line, which he hasn't. And Zelensky wants him to go to the front line so he himself can see what it's like on the ground. Okay, so reportedly he invited him to the front line or to visit Ukraine. It looks like J.D. Vance does not want to go over there at all. We're still hearing about whether Trump's going to go too. He might, possibly. Now from War Monitor, Britain has sent a new batch of Storm Shadow cruise missiles to Ukraine. Okay, so there's an update there. I'm not sure how many they got, but looks like they're going to be getting some more Storm Shadow missiles that they can use for their aircraft over there. Now for Max 24, Kavkazskaya OTP Day 6. Okay, this is that oil pumping station in Kavkazskaya in the Krasnodar Krai region that got hit 2 times last week and basically burned out. We have some reports that apparently caught on fire again, and this place has pretty much been completely burned out. So those are some of the photos there. And we've got some information here also. Max 24 minus 1.7 million barrels of oil per day. And take a look at this report. After the destruction of the Kavkazskaya oil pumping station by Ukrainian UAV strike, the transportation of oil through it to the CPC system will be impossible in the foreseeable future, the Caspian Pipeline Consortium reported. Okay, so this is a major pipeline near the Caspian Sea, and this oil pumping station is one of the last pumping stations before oil gets exported out of Russia. I think it's through the Black Sea over there near the Krasnodar region, and the Kavkazskaya oil pumping station, like I told you guys, got hit like 2-3 times last week and basically burned to the ground completely. And from what we know, this entire facility is destroyed. Okay, so it's definitely going to impact the Caspian Sea pipeline over there. So that was a new report coming out today. It looks like that thing is done. Now from next, the last peaceful summer for the EU. Experts believe Russia's attack on Lithuania is possible as early as this fall. This could be our last peaceful summer, according to Bild. Russia announced large-scale exercises in Belarus. The Baltic countries are concerned that during these exercises, Russian armed forces may cross the border. At the same time, NATO's Article 5, at least for the U.S., may cease to apply. Deterrence is weakening. So this actually came out yesterday and was being widely reported. But because I wasn't here, just wanted to quickly throw this in here with you and share this information in case you guys didn't know about it. But Lithuania is preparing for war right now. They're afraid that Russia's going to be holding some major military exercises in Belarus, I think this summer, and I'm hearing up to 100,000 troops. I mean, that's a pretty sizable force from Russia, and they're afraid that they might get attacked, and if they do, the U.S. might not be there to back them up. We've already been hearing that before from the U.S., so they're definitely concerned about that, and I have a new update regarding their border now. From next, breaking, Lithuania, following Poland's lead, has announced plans to fully mine its border with Belarus and Russia. Okay, so now Lithuania taking action, starting to mine their border, just like Poland announced that last week. They're going to be doing so with the border of Belarus. Lithuania is going to be doing the same thing, mining their border up and getting ready for any potential attack from Russia in the future. So, pretty insane, guys. I mean, could we see a major attack from Russia at some point in the future? I mean, they've come out many times saying they wouldn't do so, but they also said that about Ukraine and many other nations in history in the past. So, they definitely could attack at some point and maybe attack NATO at a time when they're weak and the U.S. doesn't come to their aid, okay? So very scary situation. Now from Bliskovka, Air Defense Forces of Ukraine shot down 57 of the 99 Russian UAVs. Another 36 Russian UAVs were lost in the area, okay? So we had 99 Russian drones going into Ukraine last night. Not any major reports of these attacks really damaging anything, but we know that drones were entering into Ukraine last night. So it looks like a good majority of those being shot down. Now our final update of the day from the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of March 24th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So here's our final update of the day, guys. Russia's losses as of March 24th, 1,280 troops, 16 AFVs, 116 vehicles and fuel tanks, 8 tanks, 81 artillery systems, 146 UAVs, 5 MLRS, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, and 1 special equipment. Okay, so looks about average in terms of these numbers. What we're seeing here, right around 1,200, 1,300, still average. We've been seeing over 100 vehicles and fuel tanks being destroyed each day. But this number is the one I've been watching that has really been jumping up recently. 81 artillery systems. That's quite a bit. We saw as high as 103 last week. There was another day where it was like 70 or 80 also. So Ukraine is destroying a lot of artillery systems on the Russian side, and I wonder if many of these are those North Korean Koksan artillery guns. Many of those were being stationed in the Kursk region, and I'm sure attacks are still being carried out over there. So lots of artillery systems being destroyed on the Russian side. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for this update today. So again, today's date, March 24th, 2025. And welcome back again to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me to the end of this video. And if you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.